Hello, everybody. So, yesterday we learned a little bit about El Dia de los Muertos, and today we're going to talk about sugar skulls, which is a big part of the celebration. So, what are sugar skulls? They're called calaveras de azúcar in Spanish, which just basically says skulls of sugar. Skulls are made out of pressed sugar. So, if we look at all of these samples right here, this one, all of these are actually made out of pressed sugar that's put in a mold. So gotta watch out because those huge attractor for bugs, right? And plus with the humidity, do they stick together? I don't know. I don't know how to make the real ones. But skulls are made out of pressed sugar that are brightly decorated with frosting, candies, and sequins. And you can see this little guy here. It's got some feathers. So basically, feathers and sequins are not edible. So these are kind of more decorative. I don't know that I would eat these unless they were a cookie or something. Sugar skulls are made or bought. So some people actually make them. These look like these are real pretty homemade ones right here. At least I think they're pretty. So that there are some places that you can buy them, or you can get the sugar skulls and then decorate them. But I think that's kind of awesome. They're often given as gifts and placed on altars created for loved ones who have died. Now, I know that the Village of the Arts usually has a celebration around the time of El Dia de los Muertos, and they have altars set up. And basically what an altar is a place in the house or sometimes at someone's on the gravesite where they will set up pictures and flowers and decorations and candles to help remember their loved one who has passed on. So those are what altars are, where you would actually put stuff kind of presenting to the person in remembrance and celebrating their life, which is kind of cool. And I think they showed in our video yesterday, we showed there was an example of an altar set up with flowers and goodies. All right, these are just some more samples of sugar skulls. So up here in this upper corner right here, we have some actual ones made out of fresh sugar. You have the empty skull, and then we have decorated. So it looks like these were some that someone bought the pressed skull and added the frosting and sequins and decorations. And this one right here, these are some more pressed sugar ones. Now, anybody out there ever been to Mexico? I have. And a lot of their shops have very bright painted objects. Sometimes here we have samples of sugar skulls. It could be animals, could be suns, but they're really bright painted with a lot of floral designs. And we're going to learn why there are flowers on the skulls in a moment. But this middle set right here, these are made out of paper mache and then painted with all those bright, beautiful colors, which I love. All the vibrant colors. I think they're so beautiful. You know, Miss Sackett, I love colors. Here's some more samples of these. Look like they might be ceramic, which means they're made out of clay and baked in a kiln and then glazed. Because see how shiny they are? These just look like they might be made out of ceramics or clay. And this bottom one, this is very popular too. These are wooden ones that are painted with all the bright colors. And I love all the bright colors. I think it's so fun. It just brings things to life. It makes me happy. And remember, El Dia de los Muertos is not a sad occasion. It's a celebration. It's to celebrate life and all the good things and remembering the people. It's a happy time. All right, let's talk about the symbols of sugar skulls, face painting, and masks, because there are reasons why it's a skull, and there are reasons why there are certain decorations on them. For skulls, first off, these are not a negative connotation. Skulls are meant to help people not to fear death, to help it to be a celebration. Basically, a skull is just bones. And you know, Miss Sackett loves bones. For the Aztecs, which is the tribe, one of the main tribes of Mexico, and they are behind the celebration, skulls were a positive symbol, not only of death, but also of rebirth, because the Aztecs believed that you became a higher being once you left the earth. Skulls are also used as a way to overcome a fear of death. Skulls and skeletons were an important part of All Saints' Day. Here we go again, back to the Catholic celebration. Skulls and skeletons were an important part of All Saints' Day festivals in medieval Europe. Now, medieval is way back, like the 14th century, even further back, maybe the 12th century, but long time ago. Especially since the Black Death ravaged the population of Europe in the 1300s. Now, Black Death was caused by an illness they associated with rats because there wasn't a lot of cleaning. People didn't have running water back then. And when things got dirty, they caused a plague, which killed a lot of people and they got sick. They didn't have the medicines that we have now. This is a long, long time ago. Across Europe, artists, and remember, Spain is in Europe. Across Europe, artists, playwrights, and poets mused on the theme of memento mori, which means remember death, and the dance of the dead. So in a lot of their artworks and books from the time, they depict dancing skeletons or portraits with a skull to remember death. So they're not thinking of it in a negative way because, you know, it happens, and they were, you know, remembering the people who have gone. Remember that you're not invincible. All right, so skulls. Obviously, sugar skull, important part of sugar skull is the skull. So that's the one thing you need. And another one is flowers, which, you know, flowers make me happy. I don't know about you, even though I'm allergic to some. I think they're beautiful. They're bright colors. The bees pollinate the flowers, which helps to grow vegetables and all kinds of things. That's just important. Flowers are a very important symbolic design and are used as decoration on the skulls. So one of our requirements for our sugar skull is that you use flowers somewhere. It could be flower petals around the eyes. It could be flowers on the cheek or the forehead. And you guys are going, what? Flowers? Ah! Don't worry, guys. Just do petals around the eyes or something. You just have to have a flower somewhere. It doesn't have to be feminine just because you're using flowers. The marigold, which is what I have pictured here. My mom used to grow marigolds up north. Helps to keep some critters away from her. She had a huge garden. But these are what marigolds look like. And you could use the marigold petals, which have a distinct shape for decorations around your eyes. But the marigold, or I'm going to slaughter this word because Miss Sackett does not know the Aztec language, cempasúchil. It's probably wrong. But you see that word. You see how big that is? I can handle Spanish, but the Aztec language, that's a lot of letters, which is known as the flower of the dead. The Aztecs believed this flower was sacred to their god of the dead. Now, a lot of religions have multiple gods that are like in charge of the sun, the sky, the rain, death, life, tomatoes, eggplants, and then there's one main god that sees over everything. But anyway, the god of the dead, and I'm going to mess this name up again, Mictlantecuhtli. So they believe that the marigold was sacred to the god of the dead. Skulls and flowers combined together are used not only to remember the dead, but they are to celebrate life and not fear death. So it's making it a happy occasion by having the skull and the flowers together. So those are the two main components of a sugar skull. Of course, we will talk about the expectations for the project coming up. But those are definitely two of them. All right, skulls, marigolds, and faces. Oh my. So here's just some different samples from some art from on the web. This is basically a poster design of a sugar skull. You notice it's got the eye sockets, the nose, and the teeth. It has flowers in the designs. Here's another piece of artwork that's a sugar skull. It's got the eyes, nose, mouth, and of course this one has actual flowers on top of the head, like it's wearing a crown of flowers. And this is just a painted face. Of course, you've got the flower petals and flower on her forehead, and another one with the petals around the eyes, flowers on the cheeks, chin, and it looks like there's a little bit of spider web up there. And then there's another rendition of a skull face painted. Anybody like to paint their faces? I do. I love painting faces, especially like a sugar skull. But again, flower around the eyes, big, huge part of the design, and the eye sockets, the nose, and the teeth. Now this couple here, isn't their faces gorgeous? They are professional artists. They paint faces for a living. I mean, look at all that design and depth, and they got special stuff I don't have. I just have paintbrushes and paint. But look how beautiful that design is. So she has all kinds of very pretty feminine colors, and then his, even with the flowers on his forehead and chin and on his cheeks, he looks very masculine. So there's a way you can make flowers look really cool in our sugar skull drawings. And then there's just another example of a painted face, because Miriam Sackett loves painted faces. I do. And I want to show you. And this is a sample of a finished sugar skull. Now this one is kind of like what we're going to be doing. It's got the eye sockets, the nasal cavity, and the teeth, and of course the skull head shape. It has flowers in the designs, which is part of our requirements. It has designs around the eyes, which is a requirement. Designs on the forehead, on the cheeks. And if you have room and time, you can add designs onto the chin. You will be having a choice in supplies, which we'll be talking about later. But this is a finished sample that was done with gel pens at school. Okay, so now we're going to move on to learn how to draw a skull shape so that we can get to our designing.